The Philippine National Railways has been transporting people and cargo all over the Philippines for several decades now. It is part and parcel of many a Filipino's life. The present chairman of the board of PNR is retired General Roberto Lastimoso, whom Modern Today invited for a one-on-one recently. Let's learn more about the PNR chair, how his childhood, and how he embarked in the military and government service.
My great-grandfather migrated to Panay in Iloilo, and my grandfather migrated again to Capiz in Mambusaw, where my father was born. My father relocated to Rojas City, which before was a town, one of the towns of Capiz. And I was born in Rojas City in 1944. That's how long it was.
His father was a bus driver and in fact drove the first bus line that operated from Iloilo to Calibo, Aklan, the Panay Autobus. When General Lastimoso was in grade school, his father entered Coca-Cola Brewery, the forerunner of San Miguel Beer, as driver salesman, one of the pioneer employees then.
When we met an accident, we went back to Rojas City, then to our small farm there, where I studied my high school in Colegio de la Purísima Concepcion. I was a consistent first honor from grade 1 to grade 6, then first year to fourth year. I graduated as valedictorian of Colegio de la Purísima Concepcion. After high school, I took the entrance examination because my brother was a frustrated PMA applicant also, but he never made it because he got married immediately. So he told me to take the exams, and I was really challenged. At that time, there were no available courses also in Capiz, except be a teacher, a CPA, or a lawyer. Very limited choices. So I went to PMA, took the exam, I passed the first time. Then I was admitted, and I got a degree of BS PMA in 1967. And I started, that's where my military career started.
Counting the 4 years he spent at the PMA, which is looked upon as part of government service, General Lastimoso has thus far spent 54 years in the service.
I joined the Philippine Constabulary at that time in 1967 because that was the time when the roster of officers in the armed forces of the Philippines were separated. Because before 1967, the Philippine Army and the Philippine Constabulary have only one roster. You can transfer from one branch, call that branch of service, to another branch of service. In 1967, they formally separated the roster of Philippine Constabulary, and I joined the Philippine Constabulary. So after graduation, when we were in Mindanao, I volunteered for Sulu assignment. That was my first baptism because my first assignment was in Duok, Sulu. That was the place of Kamlon. So it was really baptism of fire, literally.
After Sulu, he was assigned in Cagayan de Oro, then Davao, Zamboanga, and Basilan. He spent a total of 25 years in Mindanao. He liked the life in Mindanao and in fact did not want to go back to Luzon anymore.
In fact, after Sulu, I was transferred to Malacanang, part of the Presidential Guard Battalion before, PGB. But I begged off. I said, I'm better off in Mindanao.
As with everyone else, retirement is always a reality, and though he enjoyed government service, his retirement came too soon.
After my retirement, I went on, retirement, really retired. But I was taken in by President Gloria Arroyo. I first worked with the PNOC as a director of the board of Petrochem. Then he plucked me out from PNOC and made me the LTO chief in 2002, I think. Yeah, 2002. Where I served for 2 years. Then I became the manager of Metro Rail Transit 3, MRT 3. And it was still good. It was still running efficiently.
According to him, serious problems like derailment and the like were very rare occurrences compared to what is happening now in our railways.
I went into politics. I made an attempt to run for a congressman of the 2nd District of Capiz, but because I was not really prepared, how elections are won in the Philippines, I was not prepared financially, so I lost.
He had a series of consultancies after his unsuccessful try at politics when he retired from the LRT.
From there on until the president appointed me as chairman of the PNR board, I was on retirement. And when he offered me that, I said, okay, I'll make a try. It's nice to be back.
Because he still has a lot to offer, General Lastimoso enjoys his return to government service. We ask him about the problems hounding the PNR now.
You know, in 1950, I can still recall, even up to 60s, early 60s, and to the 70s maybe, the rail industry, the rail system of the Philippines is very much advanced. I mean, compared to other countries, compared to us, to Indonesia, Malaysia, ASEAN countries only, Vietnam, we were only second to Japan. Because our line at the time was running all the way from Legazpi in the south up to the Mortis in La Union in the north. It was running, it was operational.
The Philippines, once the leader in the railway system, is now the laggard. In fact, according to General Lastimoso, our neighbors like Vietnam, Cambodia, and even Sri Lanka are now starting their own subways. The government has sadly neglected the PNR.
We neglected the rail system, which is the mass transport system. It could have eased up our traffic now if we have the good railroad system. So the problems of PNR are very, very big. Because right now, you are only running from Tutuban, from the station, up to Calamba. And the train from Tutuban to Calamba and vice versa is only once a day. We have also line now running from Tutuban to Alabang to PNR to Tutuban 3 times a day, both ways, 6 times both ways. So that's very disappointing coming from where we were in 1970.
Speaking about how the PNR operates now, the PNR chair shared that we recently opened a line from Naga to Legazpi and is now planning to rehabilitate all the lines, including Legazpi to La Union.
The problems of PNR will soon be solved because right now there are several offers coming from Japan, from China especially, mostly from China, to undertake projects of PNR. We have, for example, approved by NIDA now the North-South Rail of the Philippine National Railway, which is from Tutuban all the way to Malolos in the north, to Clark, then up to Ilocos. Then in the south, we have the line from this place, Tutuban, down to Calamba, commuter, and Tutuban, all the way to Legazpi, and extending to Matnub. Then the spar line from Calamba to Batangas to take care of the freight, because Batangas port now is a major port of entry. So these are the things that will happen during the term of President Duterte.
This would certainly rid our metro roads with more buses that contribute heavily to traffic. This is his vision for PNR, but improvements will be in several stages.
The first stage will be the one from Tutuban to Malolos, because this was already committed to the Japanese ODA funds, Overseas Development Program of the government, and they have already allocated the money for this. There is already an agreement, and what is needed now is the detailed engineering design. Once that's completed, we can start maybe the first quarter of 2018, and this will be completed before the end of the term of the president. All the rest are in different stages of the project, like for example getting the concession loan and conducting the feasibility study. This is for the north-south railway, Luzon.
President Duterte wants to have the same railway system in Mindanao, he says, and PNR is now studying its viability. General Lastimoso is looking at lines from Surigao to Cagayan de Oro and onto Davao and General Santos, and an east-west line from Surigao to Cagayan de Oro and onto Zamboanga. Completion is likely to be accomplished beyond President Duterte's term.
It's about time that someone seriously sat down and implement changes at the PNR, which would benefit not only the train-riding people, but the general public as well, because an efficient railway system will certainly help ease traffic in the metro.